This is Film Dungeon Commentary presenting Blade 2, directed by Guillermo del Toro. And I am your host, Dr. Chris, and on with me for this commentary is vampire writer Brian McKinley. Thank you for coming on with us, Brian.
Thank you.
So you want to make sure that your DVD or Blu-ray of Blade 2, I am using the New Line Platinum Series edition. This is the 2-disc set that came out when it first came out on DVD back in 2002. I'm assuming, Brian, you're using the same version?
Yeah,
okay.
It's actually, I was just going to say it's the same one I have.
Exact same one. Okay, so I know this is on Blu-ray as well. I don't know how the Blu-ray is. I'm assuming it's a single disc with all the bonus features on the Blu-ray disc because you can fit more on Blu-ray. So you want to make sure on your counter that it says 0005 as the New Line Cinema logo in red is coming up on screen. So, and then hit play on your DVD player when I say hit play. Hit play now. And we have the New Line Cinema logo coming into focus, like the last Blade movie, and kind of like the other horror movies at the time that they would produce. It would be in red. Usually it's like in blue for normal films.
Yeah. Very vampire of them.
Yes, definitely. And of course this movie stars the great Wesley Snipes, who I'm quite sure would love it if Disney would make another Blade movie, but Disney owns Blade now. New Line let that go back to them. We're not seeing anything happening.
Well, I mean, to digress a little bit, from what I understand, he did not have a good time making the third Blade movie. So,
well, that's because he had to share that lot with Ryan Reynolds, and that was a mess. But he has said for several years after he got out of prison for tax evasion that he would love to make another Blade movie, and he would love Disney to do it. And he has stated a few times that he has talked to Disney. So unless he's lying, who knows?
I'm sure it couldn't hurt his career.
No, because the only thing I've seen him in since he got out of prison was The Expendables 3. Now, a lot of people don't know this, and if you don't watch the bonus material for the DVD, it's mentioned on here by Guillermo del Toro that this character right here, the mandible vampire guy here, whatever his name is, was originally intended to be Morbius the Living Vampire.
Oh, wow.
They wanted to do Morbius. The problem is that Morbius's film rights were tied up in the Spider-Man franchise. Not that they ever used him.
No, although I think that was planned at some point. Sam Raimi wanted him in one of them.
Yeah.
Like he had that lined up for 4 or 5 or something. There was going to be like the Lizard and Morbius. And they were going to tie them together somehow and finally let poor Dylan Baker play the Lizard.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel bad for the guy. He sat around for 2 movies with one arm waiting for, his chance to be the Lizard. He never got it.
One thing you may want to do, Brian, is just turn your volume on your TV or DVD player down because it's being picked up in the audio recording.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, I had it on normal. Sorry.
So you want to basically turn it down to enough so you can still hear it and me at the same time. Now, for everyone listening, one thing I do try to do is not talk when the dialogue's happening on screen and talk in between the scenes to have a much better experience. So while the action's happening, you have something to listen to.
So, this is a great opening, though. The turnaround of starting off with the vampires and then having this guy, turn out to be something that
Eats vampires.
Feeds on the vampires.
This would become the precursor for what's happening on the Strain.
Yeah. There's actually, I think you could really see the influence that doing this movie had, and probably made Del Toro want to write the Strain novels
with Paul Hogan.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that I don't think I pointed it out in my first Blade commentary, but there is no way Blade can have that memory. I don't care if you're a superhuman vampire, hybrid, human, whatever the fuck you are. You cannot have the memory of being born.
Yeah. No, it's just not even physically possible.
No.
I don't
And
think
you're going realistic with this movie, by the way? No.
Yeah. Although I will say, out of all of them, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this one, Blade 2 is by far my favorite of the series.
Even though the editing of the action is kind of choppy.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, but I think, to me, I think Del Toro got the comic book essence and the fun of the character. I mean, because Blade as a character is really stoic and really kind of humorless, and I mean, occasionally he'll have a little bit of wit, but for the most part he's very serious and humorless, and it's hard to keep that going for a whole movie. And Del Toro did a really good job of pairing Blade up with all the other characters and making things around him, you know, have the fun. Like, the first movie was just kind of an action movie that happened to have vampires. This one, I think they really got into the gothic element, and it feels more like a world.
Yeah.
Which is also why I actually enjoyed the Blade TV series that they did, short-lived, I should say.
Yeah, they did it in 2006, like a year after the Blade 3 came out.
Yeah. Because I thought that was well done, and I really loved the way they expanded the vampire culture and the houses, and really made that matter rather than just be sort of throwaway. You know.
This came out the same year as Spider-Man the movie.
Oh. That's right, the first Spider-Man.
At least 2 months before Spider-Man the movie came out. This was out in theaters in March, I believe. Spider-Man was out in May. And, you know, it was... I don't know if that was New Line's way of, like, saying, hey, look, by the way, before your big Spider-Man movie makes $400 million at the box office and breaks all the frickin' records on the planet, we did it first. We put Blade out in 1999, a year before that X-Men movie, by the way.
Yeah, although that was Fox.
But still,
yeah.
I guarantee that there had to have been something in the meeting with Del Toro saying, we want this out before Spider-Man comes out, as a kind of like, we were here first.
Oh yeah, try to preempt the Marvel excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And I can totally see that.
And then 2 years later, it's because of this movie that Del Toro got funding to make Hellboy.
Yeah, which was another great movie.
Which also came out at the same time, spring of 2014. And that was also the first year that the second Spider-Man movie came out.
Yeah.
Massive IMDb trivia right there for you.
I sometimes get fuzzy on the dates and whatnot. Like, I remember going to see this movie Blade 2 in the theaters and enjoying it. I liked it better than I liked the first Spider-Man.
Now, I bring up Spider-Man again because a lot of people my age were exposed to Blade for the first time. If you had been reading comic books, you might not have known who the character is until 1996. Spider-Man the Animated Series, the episode Blade the Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was trying to find Morbius the Living Vampire, who, because fucking cops are stupid as shit in New York, in comic books and cartoons sometimes, Spider-Man was being blamed for people being found with their blood drained.
Oh, because he's a spider.
That's right. Yeah, okay. I'm stupid. But still, I mean, Are you
Spider-Man
kidding?
must have suddenly turned into a predatory monster.
Okay, I just thought of that, but I don't think that's what they were going with. But still, I mean, okay, in the context of the cartoon itself, though,
Sorry, just to interrupt, but blood cocaine. I love that.
no, he just shoots him up as like a human shield.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense that you bring that point up. Spiders do drink blood, but in the context of the cartoon, it's never mentioned.
Oh yeah, no, and I doubt they put even that much thought into it. Like that's something I would think of, but I doubt the cops in the cartoon Marvel world would even make that much of a connection.
Yeah. And they had like really cool kind of gothic music playing when Blade showed up. No, that's when Morbius shows up. When Morbius shows up, it's. But when Blade shows up, it's down. And he's got like a flaming sword. And because this is like a '90s Fox cartoon where they could not have the cops allowed to have.
I remember those cartoons. I grew up on those.
The cops were not allowed to have guns. They had to have laser guns. Everyone had a laser gun.
That's more okay. Getting shot with laser beams is all right. It's like that G.I. Joe logic.
Yeah, the cop, the burglar who shot and killed Uncle Ben in the flashback that they show the death of Uncle Ben, he had the same type of weapon the cops do, a laser gun.
Wow.
I was like, so are you saying a laser blast killed Uncle Ben?
Yeah, really.
That's
futuristic.
Oh my God. Anyway, so Blade is after Spider-Man 2 because he thinks. And here's the other thing. So the vampires in the Spider-Man cartoon series that Blade shows up in. Blade, by the way, appears in 5 episodes of this cartoon series. He appears in the 2-parter with Morbius.
This Catch You Later to the one vampire.
Yeah, and then he shows up again because his mother is now Queen of the Vampires.
Yeah.
And then he shows up again in the Secret Wars. Black Cat, Morbius, and Blade are fighting Blade's mother and a group of vampires.
Oh, and here we go. The infamous, we got to bring back Kristofferson.
This was so dumb because they kill him off in the 3rd one. It's like, spoilers for anybody, but they kill him off in the 3rd one again.
Yeah. Really, what was the point?
It's really stupid. It's like, why did you even bother killing him off in the 2nd one?
I mean, in the first one, it was kind of,
Why did they keep him alive? Is that even explained?
Apparently, it was that, like, apparently he was so incompetent at committing suicide, even though Blade gave him the gun, put it at his head, and pretty much left him nothing to do but pull the trigger. Apparently, this old grizzled warrior could not even manage that right, and he survived that experience. And some other vampires came and took him. And I remember in the commentary they said that there was supposed to be a fight scene here.
Oh, between the two of them?
Yeah, that Kristofferson was supposed to come out of the pod and immediately start kung fu fighting with Blade. I'm really glad they nixed that, because that would have made this just unbearably stupid.
This is already unbearably stupid because they also add in a plot line coming up later on where he's like, "Are you okay?" And he does something kind of weird, Whistler, to make Blade think that he's changing or something, and they never go back to it later on. Like, that's it. That's the only indication that there might be something wrong with him. And then, of course, here's the famous Walking Dead star, Norman Reedus.
Oh, yeah.
Who, I swear to God, for a number of years, I thought this was Eddie Furlong. Because he looks like Eddie Furlong from Detroit Rock City.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it could have been. I mean, this was a good part for Norman Reedus. I really liked him in this.
And this was 3 years after the Boondock Saints.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember in the commentary, too, they made jokes about how for all the time you see the car and how good it looks, apparently that car like almost never ran.
Oh.
Like they found maybe one or two slightly working cars because they're filming in Prague.
Uh-huh.
So they found like one or two of the only cars in the entire continent, got them over there, and even then apparently they constantly had problems with them. So they cut down Blade's driving of his car as much as possible. That's why he's on the motorcycle for so long in the movie.
Well, that's fine, because in the Spider-Man cartoon, where I was used to him, when I first saw the first Blade movie, I was constantly going, where the hell's his motorcycle? Blade's supposed to have a motorcycle. He's always riding around the motorcycle in the Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah.
And I had not read, when the first Blade movie came out, I had never read a Blade comic book, or a comic book with Blade in it that I was aware of.
Oh, me neither. I didn't know he existed as a comic book character until the movie.
I did. I mean, again, it came from the Spider-Man cartoon. When I saw him in the Spider-Man cartoon, I knew he was a comic book character, but I was like,
yeah.
Who is he? Oh, he's in the Night Stalkers. That was the Ghost Rider spinoff. Didn't read that. Didn't read his comic. Never read Tomb of Dracula until I was like 20. And then I read every issue of Tomb of Dracula, and I was like, oh my god, Blade. He used to have an afro and wooden stakes and goggles and a green, like, turned up coat, like, open, unbuttoned shirt.
That's why I don't read comics, because...
That was Blade's original look. Big afro, wooden stakes.
Now I want to see them do a movie where they have a flashback to the 70s and Blade is in that outfit.
Oh, they could probably do that in the current Marvel universe, Marvel movies or cinematic universe. In Mighty Avengers, issue number 11, they have a flashback showing Luke Cage's father. Luke Cage is the leader of the Mighty Avengers. There's like several different Avenger teams. I'm not going to get into it all, but he's the leader of the Mighty Avengers, and Blade reveals to him that back in the 70s he teamed up with his father to take down a Hydra cell, and it shows Blade in his original Tomb of Dracula look. Because even though we've retconned the timeline, so comics only took place like a few years ago. In Marvel speak. The timeline is like 12 years or something like that, because they always base it on like when did the Fantastic Four first appeared, about 12 or 13 years ago. So that's how long like Spider-Man's been around, and so on and so forth. That's how long Captain America's been out of hibernation. But they show like a flashback with Luke Cage's father as a private investigator teaming up with Blade in his original ridiculous looking costume.
Yeah,
or if you can even call it a costume.
Well, who knows? Maybe with all the success with the Netflix shows, they can sort of backdoor Blade back into the Marvel universe on one of the shows.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
or Nick Cage or
Luke. Yeah, out of any of them, it would definitely be Luke Cage, I think.
Yeah, that could be good stuff. Throw a few vampire. I mean, you already got ninjas. What's a few vampires between friends?
Yeah, ninjas are going to come back in the upcoming Iron Fist show next year. We're going to have Iron Fist and Defenders, and they've already greenlit a Punisher series, Elektra. Yep. So Punisher and Elektra are going to be getting their own Netflix shows. We're going to be getting
Squirrel Girl won't be too far off.
Oh, don't even get me started.
I think that's silly too. But
I think that's so freaking stupid. But we're not going to get season 3 of Daredevil until like another year. We're going to go a year with no Daredevil.
I know, and that's bullshit.
But no, Daredevil will be in the Defenders.
Yeah,
because the Defenders is going to be picking up after the events of Daredevil with the Hand. Right. They've already announced that the Defenders will be fighting the Hand and a new villain. So it'll be Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones versus ninjas. And I'm like, yes!
Yeah, I'll watch it.
I will totally watch it. Are you kidding me? You're never going to get tired of superheroes fighting ninjas. And let's face it, the Hand is like Hydra. There's a never-ending supply of Hand ninjas. They don't die easily, by the way. They get stabbed. They get right back up again.
Yeah. So I like... Yeah, like I said, I liked Norman Reedus in this movie. It's kind of a nice little crossover. I think the way they did him was the character is really good too. Like they gave him so much attitude.
Did he ever get a haircut?
Nope. Nope. It just kept growing right into Daryl Dixon. You know,
Covered in sweat and
eventually,
matted to his face.
like Norman Reedus will just look like a Wookiee, you know, or Cousin It. You know, he'll just be a big thing of hair.
Yeah.
But no, I like the fact, like, because later with the reveal, spoilers, of course, but I'm assuming anybody listening to this has already seen.
Don't listen to us before you watch the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. But the fact that he turns out to be a traitor, I thought they really, I think they really did a good job, because I didn't suspect it going in. You know, the way they played him, he seemed so.
Damn, he just sucker punched him right there. Now this is where Blade meets the Blood Pack, led by that hot chick. I don't know her name, and Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman. Speaking of Hellboy. Okay, this is where it's a little CGI and looks stupid.
Yeah, they had the ninja vampires. One of whom is Danny John Jules from Red Dwarf, which I thought was kind of awesome.
Also, at the beginning of the movie, when the New Line Cinema logo comes up, I didn't realize they were an AOL company, but now they're owned by Time Warner. I mean, they got folded under Time Warner because there's no New Line Cinema movies coming out anymore.
No, New Line more or less
got folded.
Folded its tents.
Yeah, the house that Freddy Krueger built.
Yeah.
And they got... Their logo still pops up on stuff.
Yeah.
But they're not making movies by themselves anymore, unfortunately.
Well, it's sad. It's kind of like Dimension.
Or Miramax.
Was kind of the big...
Yeah, or, I mean, God, think of all the great Miramax movies that had come out.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
Crow.
The Crow, Pulp Fiction, Clerks, everything Kevin Smith made up until Clerks 2.
Almost all the great movies of the 90s were either like Miramax or Dimension.
Yeah. And now there is no Dimension anymore.
Nope.
Miramax was basically Disney's new line, not new line, Touchstone Pictures.
Yeah.
But Touchstone Pictures is still putting out movies because they put out the Tom Hanks Steven Spielberg movie that came out last year.
Mm.
The spy one where
yeah.
Whatever that was called.
Bridge of Spies or
yeah, Bridge of Spies.
But anyway. So back to
Blade.
Speaking of, we were talking about Jessica Jones and all that before, we now have literally ninja vampires. So it's the best of both. I like their outfits though, with the little the little goggles and stuff. They gave them they have a very Hydra sort of look to them.
Yeah, Reinhardt, Nisa, Scud, and not Scud. Oh, Scud's Norman Reedus, but Nomak, Chupa, Assad, Snowman.
Oh wow, you know all their names.
Whistler was, by the way, never a character in the comic books. He was created for the Spider-Man animated series.
Oh, so there we go.
Yeah.
So they took him for the movie, and there's more of that wonderful CGI.
Yep. And I think he's been retconned in ever since as having like raised and helped Blade, because for the longest time Blade it was like a jazz singer that was doing it. You know, it was a black man jazz singer. So they eventually went on.
White man stealing a black man's job.
Not quite. I think it's a completely different character. But he's got the cane. He walks with a limp. In the cartoon, they never explain Whistler's backstory. He's got short hair, by the way, and no beard. He's old, but he's not like the country singer that Chris Kristofferson is.
Well, yeah.
Also, Blade 2 was the only movie to have a comic book adaptation of the 3 Blade films. They didn't do a comic book adaptation for Blade or Blade 3, which I will never call Blade Trinity because that sounds stupid.
Well, it was an awful movie.
There are some things I like about it, but they're so far.
There were a couple of ideas, but for the most part, it was kind of a train wreck. They threw it together too fast, and just I don't know. So many things about it were just wrong.
Okay, here's a couple things I do like about it. I actually liked Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel's characters in those movies. The problem was everything else about that movie was terrible.
Yeah, I like Ryan Reynolds. I'll agree with you there.
He
Didn't
brought some
detest
humor
him.
to the role, but it was too much of him on screen.
Well, yeah. Well, from what I understand,
Wesley Snipes'
that was
problem.
that was Wesley Snipes. Yeah, because Wesley Snipes just refused to shoot so many scenes that Goyer had to keep improvising. So they just kept bringing Ryan Reynolds in and said, "Here, do some, do some shtick.
Yeah.
Just be funny for a while.
I,
Make a scene up."
I'm hoping Deadpool will maybe reference his Hannibal King character.
Oh, that would be great.
Like, maybe I should go hunt vampires. No?
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see him doing that. Or having I could see Deadpool having like they'll do a panning shot around the room, and there'll be a copy of like Blade Trinity laying there, like a DVD or something.
Uh-huh.
See, now this is the thing that I liked so much about Blade 2 is Guillermo del Toro put so much thought into the vampires and actually giving them a culture. I mean, the first movie, they had the tattoos and they had, some of the stuff, the language. But with this one, like, there's so much blood-based stuff, like them using blood as an identifier and, just the richness. And I like the head vampire. Just a kind of a
Demonicus.
classic Nosferatu tribute, but still well done. That sort of marble skin that he has.
Creepy. Brian, check Facebook.
I see your message.
Okay.
Okay, for a second I thought you weren't talking because there was dialogue.
I love this whole, like, background and everything. Like the sets.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean about the culture that he put in. It's like there's obviously like thought to it where you imply so much history and all this. I love the lawyer.
Because every vampire needs a blood-sucking lawyer.
Yeah, well, he makes the vampires look good by comparison. It's like, hello, I'm German and therefore evil.
Did you know Blade was going to have a daughter in a comic book spinoff?
No.
Yep.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yep, the new Blade, her name is going to be Fallon. And Fallon, Fallon. And it was going to be written by Tim Seeley, who wrote Hack Slash, and is the current writer on Nightwing. And he's the upcoming writer on the Lost Boys comic book series by Vertigo. There's a 6-issue Lost Boys comic book series taking place directly after the events of the movie.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm really excited for that.
And, of course, there's a CW Lost Boys series starting, which is like, you know what? I know people have a bad reputation about the CW, but let's face it, what is the CW now famous for? It's not teeny tiny, wishy-washy, melodramatic bullshit romance stories. It's Supernatural, The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow. It's some really well-written shows that people actually like.
Yeah, they've kind of rebounded and turned themselves into the like superhero, comic
geeky
book
show. I mean, let's face it, they've always had a superhero show. Their first show, besides Seventh Heaven, was Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, and then Smallville.
Yeah.
And Smallville ran for 10 fucking years. And guess what happened when Smallville was still on the air? Supernatural started, and Charmed. And the 100 is cleared by Entertainment Weekly as being like the show you're not watching. And I've actually watched the first episode. I was like, wow, the 100 is really good. It's really dark. They are not the wishy-washy kind of romantic network they started out as.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
So I think a Lost Boys TV series done correctly and hopefully with some love could be good. And don't forget, CW is owned by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns DC Comics and they own the Lost Boys. Hence why we're going to get it on Vertigo, which is owned by DC Comics, and they're going to get it on the CW. You're not going to get a Warner Brothers show on any other network. Not when they own their own network.
I think I will give it a try, and I think it has the potential to be good, because I mean, the Lost Boys is really fertile territory. If you just take the first movie,
yeah, let's just leave it on the first movie.
Yeah, there's so much in there that you could explore.
But
I mean, yeah, the second and third straight to video ones, yeah, they didn't do anything.
No, I mean, I was excited when they came out, but then I watched them and I was like,
yeah, pretty sad. I mean, even if they had just wanted, I think they would have been better off doing just Frog Brothers movies and have them go around, you know.
Yeah, well, the fourth one was supposed to be them fighting werewolves with the little kid now all grown up.
Yeah.
The little vampire kid is no longer a vampire. And he's a werewolf hunter. And here's the other thing about the second Lost Boy movie. Excuse me. The main vampire in that is Kiefer Sutherland's actual real-life brother. Why the hell did they tie that into the actual movie?
No, it was actually his son.
That's his son? What the frick?
That's how old Kiefer Sutherland is now. That's how many years have passed.
Whatever, the point is...
But he looked so much like him, and yeah, there was so much potential to be like, oh my god, look at this
You killed my brother, you know?
Yeah, you killed my father.
Whatever.
Yeah, probably brother.
That crap where vampires can have fucking children is so stupid. It's in this franchise, too, because don't forget, she's the daughter of Marblehead back there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Blade, I'll accept it because they made a point of that the vampires were a different species that actually has its own, you know, kind of life cycle.
I just no. I mean, you're dead. Well, a virus would destroy your inside.
I always thought they weren't dead. Like the turned ones were essentially living corpses, but the actual born vampires.
Oh, I don't know. I hate that whole thing about vampires giving birth. I'm sorry. It sounds stupid.
It's not outside of the realm of folklore.
If you're telling me that vampires can give birth, then okay, they're either a virus. Okay, listen. There's only two type of vampires. They're either a virus, which means it would destroy your ability to give birth, or it's or the baby would come out like a mutant or disgusting. You'd have to abort it or destroy it when it's born, or they're dead and they're raised from the dead 3 nights later, or whatever. You know what I mean? They die, they come back to life. They're no longer able to viably do that. How are they able to still have sex? Who knows? You know what I mean? Obviously, they need blood to survive, and it pumps through their body so they can pump through into their penis. The point is, that annoys me at the no end. Now, when you say werewolves can still give birth, that's fine. You don't die to become a werewolf.
True. Oh, see, this is one of those things where one of the few times where Blade actually gets to be kind of funny. You know, like this scene where he's messing around with, with Reinhardt, the Ron Perlman character. You know, and I like that. I like the fact that in this movie, Blade is not just this humorless, bag of wet blanket.
Yeah.
But another, I noticed,
is that Don
little
Cheadle?
Vampire trivia thing. Another connection.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even realize this until this viewing, but the one guy with the red hair is Marcus from the Underworld series later.
Which one was Marcus?
He was the vampire progenitor in the second movie that came out, the one that transformed into the big winged monster kind of form and became a hybrid.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But yeah, it's the guy with the curly red hair. It's either that's either him or it's the Wyndham Rewards Wizard. I I'm looking a second time. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the Wyndham Rewards Wizard from Game of Thrones, but I think it's the same actor that plays Marcus Corvinus in Underworld Evolution.
By the way, notice in all three Blade movies and the Blade TV series, it is not. There is no female protagonist character that Blade needs to get into bed with.
True. I mean, in the first one, they kind of stuck him with, the kind of very arbitrary love interest. But one of the things that I liked, again, about this one so much is that they didn't force a...
They didn't force the love interest in the second one. The first one, he never kisses her.
No, it's true. I mean, they very heavily implied that they were gonna, that they were attracted or were gonna get, involved. Luckily, they didn't. This one, I thought the story between him and the female vampire was actually much more interesting, and it was more touching at the end when, when they have that moment when the sun rises
and she's infected by the virus.
Right.
Or whatever the Uber vamp has.
Yeah.
Mr. Hoodie.
Yeah. What was that? I'm trying to remember.
The only love interest he has is with his mother in the first one, which is kind of icky. And then like the third one, there is no female for him to be in love with. He has no interest in Jessica Alba, Biel, whatever. And then the TV series, there was no female. Oh no, there is. There was the cop turned vampire, but still,
yeah.
Her and Blade do not hook up. They don't sleep together. He doesn't kiss her. He's just using her because she's infected.
Yep. Yeah, he has no interest once they go vamp.
I mean, she gets more action than Blade does because she sleeps with the prince or whatever the hell he is.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a good. It was actually. Like I said, that show, it was a shame that they cut it short so quickly because it was really exploring some interesting stuff and it ended on a really interesting note. Like the way they set up for a future season, they really had some nice places to go.
Oh, yeah, with the prince finding out that she's been working with Blade and that's how it ends on a cliffhanger.
Well, yeah, and they destroyed like the sort of inner council of the families and all of this. So
second time they did that, because you're like, didn't they kill all the head vampires in the first Blade movie, which is in continuity with this movie, because the first episode they mentioned the cure that the blind chick played by Natasha Lyonne creates for Blade.
Yeah,
and like it's dropped for like one quick line. That Shadow, that was her name because she was blind. Yeah, Shadows, get it? Yeah. She, his little buddy, the Asian guy who was helping him, mentions that Shadow's formula is not working or something. You know what I mean? I can't recreate it because I'm not that smart. So you're stuck with the blue serum that you had in the first three movies.
Yeah. Although, like I said, well, from what I fat vampire. See the club, vampires getting into like twisted stuff, like being flayed for fun. I mean, to me, this is what, if you had a society of vampires, this is what would happen. You would get this kind of stuff. But yeah, in the first movie though, it was only the house. The one house that he destroyed.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't. I thought that was
the entire inner council.
Oh, I thought that was multiple houses because they all had their own little pillar with their own little glyph on it.
Yeah, that's what they said. It was the elders, but it was like the elder council of this, that, or the other, or who knows? Continuity, but yeah. Like I said, there was some. Yep. No, it's definitely Marcus. the actor. I'm pretty sure he's. I don't know his name, but I'm pretty sure he's Australian because I've seen him in a number of things. And I love this back and forth with Ron Perlman and Blade, the way they just keep, screwing with each other. It's a great little good, bad, and the ugly kind of vibe to it. Yeah, I wish they had gotten Guillermo del Toro back for the third movie. Imagine what he could have done. If he had followed his original ideas. Meanwhile, in the sewers, the Nosferatu plan.
They do kind of look like Nosferatu.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, because I know the guy that plays the main one. I forget what his name is. Lucas something. He was like the singer from a band or something. Lucas Groff or Lucas Gross.
Yeah, Luke Gross.
Luke Gross. Okay. Yeah, I remember he had some kind of like he was famous for something out of this already.
Little snacky snack. The smoking, that he's got the coffee maker behind him. He's got it all going on. His little bat cave. Ridiculous looking glasses. Okay, every time I see this guy, I think he's Don Cheadle.
Norman Reedus with the Krispy Kremes.
I guess his next project with Guillermo del Toro was supposed to be Silent Hills, but Konami decided to stop making video games, and they scuttled the project against Kojima's better wishes. And this is like the second time Del Toro has tried to work on a video game with the company, and they scuttled the project. Yeah, he is not happy about it, but it's coming out now as a completely different title. They took out all the Silent Hill references and characters from it and remorphed them into characters that are not copywritten, and it's becoming like a completely different game.
Oh yeah, is that the one I've seen the trailer where it's like Norman Reedus naked, all CGI'd?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Because the game was pretty much completed, so the code was there. They just had to eliminate the Silent Hill code.
Oh.
Once the game is completed, you can actually you can alter games. I mean, it's just like any other type of animation.
Yeah.
So if it's, especially if it's completed, it's probably takes longer.
Donkey Kong started out as a Popeye game.
Yeah.
Before they lost the copyright to it, so they just redid the skins for all the characters and turned it into something else.
And that's how we got Mario.
Yeah. Supposedly, according to the Del Toro commentary that I listened to, of course, during this whole hallway sequence, Michael Jackson was actually supposed to appear.
And do what?
He was supposed to be one of the weirdos that's behind one of the doors. Like they were going to open a door, and there was going to be Michael Jackson with a vampire doing some freaky thing.
Oh my god!
That would have been hilarious, though.
What, you mean not Michael Jackson?
That's what happened. What happened.
You mean not Michael Jackson in the bodies of children?
Oh, that would have been harsh.
This guy's gonna get into close combat with whatever he's fighting, and that kind of sucks. This guy has... I love how they can walk around the club with guns.
Oh yeah, nobody cares.
It is Prague.
Yeah.
You said it was Prague?
Well, that's where they filmed it. I think I'm not sure that's exactly where it takes place, but it's in Eastern Europe somewhere.
A really shitty part.
Yeah, you know.
There's actually two commentaries, so we're providing everyone here a third commentary. There's probably other commentaries out there for this movie from fans, but there's a commentary by Guillermo del Toro and producer Peter Frankfurt, and then commentary by writer David Goyer and Wesley Snipes.
Yes. Yeah, I remember. I listened through both of them.
David Goyer
for commentaries.
David Goyer worked on. Oh my god, it just escaped my brain. The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yep, and of course, Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman.
And about 1,000 other things. I mean...
Oh, he also produced one of the best TV series, which just ended, Da Vinci's Demons.
Oh.
It turns Leonardo da Vinci into the, the long beard, long haired, white, really old man looking guy that we know from painting the Mona Lisa into a hip, young, goatee, leather jacket wearing, rebellious artist.
Well, of course.
Which you gotta think, it's like, that would be Leonardo da Vinci as a young man. I mean, you gotta think about how he starts.
He's young at some point.
Yeah, I mean...
And he's also Batman, apparently, in that series. But then again, the real Leonardo da Vinci, wasn't that far off. Oh no, this was neat, where he hits the guy with the giant hammer.
Yeah.
And the dude just, neck just cracks back up.
No, who's the name of the actor who plays... This is Donnie Wu.
Yeah, with a lot of eye makeup.
Oh, Donnie Yen. Hong Kong action star who's been in like tons of stuff like Ip Man.
Yeah.
Hero. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Sword of Destiny. A lot of those type of movies. And he's going to be in Triple X 3, Return of Xander Cage. Because, we were asking for another Triple X movie.
Oh, yeah, we were clamoring for it.
Because we've been clamoring for a new Fast and Furious movie, like, every year, right?
Oh, my God. I can't believe that series has gone on as long as it has.
Now, you can't speak ill of the dead anymore. They have to keep making those in honor of what's his name? Paul Walker. Who I actually, honestly, for years I thought Paul Walker should have been cast as Captain America up until Chris Evans has really done an amazing job with the role.
Yeah, he definitely looked the part.
But then Chris Evans was cast and everyone was scoffing at that because, oh my god, he was the Human Torch.
Yeah.
And then he plays it and you're like, oh, wait, yeah. Who did he used to play?
Yeah. Well, it didn't matter. See, I couldn't stand the Fantastic Four movies, so they meant nothing to me. So when I went and saw Captain America, I was fine with him.
And it's like every superhero seems to have a trilogy: Iron Man, Blade, Spider-Man. Wolverine's gonna have one being completed soon.
Yep.
But they all sucked in the third one, or the third one was okay, but wasn't as good as the first one. I mean, Iron Man had kind of a roller coaster.
That seems to be a thing with movies in general. It's really hard to sustain a series, and if you're lucky enough to have the first two movies be good, it's almost always a curse on the third one. Like,
yeah, and let's face it, out of all the superheroes I mentioned, and all the trilogies that are out there, like the Godfather trilogy, the prequels to Star Wars, Return of the Jedi is not... I love to Return of the Jedi. I will always love Return of the Jedi, and it will always be my favorite of the Star Wars movies. However, I can admit it's not as good as Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So when you think...
kind of my favorite.
Yeah, and when you want to talk about movie trilogies? A lot of people have said Captain America is the only one that got better with every movie up to Civil War. And Civil War blew everyone out of the water because it worked on every single level. All those characters in the movie worked. All the reasons why they should have been in the movie worked. All the plot points in that movie, especially like Black Panther's revenge against Bucky, which is unprecedented because he's so wrong. It wasn't Bucky who killed his father. It was Baron Zemo. It was, why is Iron Man and Captain America fighting? Everything makes so much sense. There's nothing about that, unlike Batman versus Superman, which is like a mess. And doesn't make any sense. Bruce, stop! Lex Luthor has my mother, Martha. Why did you say that name? Because it's my mother's... I just said... Can you hear inside that thing? I just told you that my mom's name is Martha. Oh, and Lex Luthor has her. Do you want to help me go find her and we don't fight? Oh, okay. But I put this super suit on and everything.
That movie...
Like, seriously, how hard would it have been to be like, Lex Luthor has my mother... hostage. Can you help me?
So,
I mean, really?
yeah, you're right about Captain America. I mean, so far, and that's one of those characters where, honestly, like before the movies, I didn't care a bit.
Okay, the part where the vampires are filled with light and they explode is a bit ridiculous. Those vampires wrapped in the bandages look pretty fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
They don't look like vampires anymore. They look like something he'd fight on another TV series.
Yep. Norman Reedus was getting practice. Yeah, he was practicing for Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah, 8 years early. Okay, what's funny is that a year after this movie comes out, in 2002, Walking Dead #1 premiered from Image.
Oh.
Issue #1 came out in 2003, I believe.
Cute. We lose Tattoo Guy. Yeah. This is one of those movies where it's like everything just works. I mean, even the stuff that's a little questionable, you kind of roll with it because it's fun.
Yeah, right there. That's all the strain.
Yep.
Have you seen the new poster for season 3?
No, I saw the great that great trailer they did.
Oh, so every season has like a different kind of image for their poster shot for advertisements, thumbnails and stuff like that. First one is like the eye being opened up with the worms, the vampire worms. The second one is the master reeling back its head with its tongue snaking out, and then the third one is it has the Statue of Liberty with the tentacle vampire tongue sticking out. I'm like, that's really cool, considering that's what the third season's about, is like the continued... I mean, the third season's based on the second half of The Fall. And then I don't know how they're going to do... because they're supposed to go 5 seasons with the show, and they're dividing up the last 2 books for 2 seasons.
Oh.
Which might be stretching it a bit. I mean, this is why Ash vs. Evil Dead is only a half-hour show. No commercials. It's like a complete 30 minutes. But you don't need to go an hour-long episodes for Ash vs. Evil Dead. It will make people disinterested with that show. And it's why the first season was so successful. It was 10 episodes. Nice. It was half an hour apiece. A full half hour, by the way. Not 22 minutes with commercials. A full half hour. And people loved it.
Punchy.
Oh, I swear to God, in one of the scenes on this DVD, you could have seen the wires attached to Wesley Snipes' back.
Oh, yeah.
And like a quick flash against the light of the windows above him. I swear I saw the wires.
It's not entirely surprising. From what I understand, considering how well this movie did, it did not have like a huge budget for its time.
Mm-mm.
You know, like comparatively, they didn't spend a whole lot on this, but Del Toro really knew where to put the money and get the most bang for his buck.
Yep.
So yeah, the digital not so great at the time, but the practical effects and the makeup, amazing. But yeah, you can see going back and looking at this now how much of the strain came out of this.
If you read, or sorry, don't read, download. Audible.com probably has it. The audiobook for the Strain, book one, is read by Ron Perlman.
Ah,
And it's awesome. The second one's okay. I don't know who it is, and I've actually not read Eternal Night yet, and I've not read the comic book or listened to the audiobook, so I don't know who does it, but yeah, the first one is Ron Perlman.
nice.
It is very awesome to hear him read it. He
Yeah,
obviously did that because he's got a really good friendship with Del Toro. He's in every freaking movie he's in, except for
yeah.
Crimson Peak. He wasn't in Crimson Peak, was he?
I don't know. I didn't see Crimson Peak.
Oh my god, Crimson Peak's so good.
I'm
It's
sure. I'm sure Ron Perlman sneaks in an appearance somewhere.
I okay, I didn't see it.
It's almost a trademark.
Well, Doug Jones plays one of the creatures in the movie.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Now, is Doug Jones in this?
I believe he is. I don't know for. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I'll bet you he's a creature.
Now, I don't try to use IMDb that often when doing these commentaries unless I absolutely have to, and this is one of the times I absolutely have to. There are, by the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Reaper actors.
Yeah.
That's what they're called, the Reapers, the new Uber Vamp. No, Doug Jones is not in this movie. I don't think he actually started working with Del Toro until Hellboy.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, you can get You can get the name of the actor that they're killing now. The red-haired guy.
I would need a name. Damn, half his. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. I forgot about the sliced open head.
Yep.
It's still blinking. Half that part of the brain is still active.
Kill him you have to kill him like 5 different ways. That's got to be one of the best, hardest deaths in film. And yeah, the one day my eye's still blinking.
By the way, they never really explain why Blade is in Russia. Because at the end of the first movie, he's in Russia. He's obviously in like Russia in this movie because he's in Russia at the end of the movie and the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
but is he chasing that fat vampire that you see him after in this movie?
No, supposedly what they said was that the reason that he came there was looking for Whistler.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, he was there tracking down leads because he had heard that the vampires had Whistler's body, and they kept moving him around, and it was the Dragolescu.
Okay, so he went to but he wasn't in Russia originally. Wait, sorry, let me rephrase that. They didn't find Whistler in Russia.
No, they found him here, wherever this is, Bucharest or Prague or whatever this is supposed to take place.
The Gothic castle.
Yeah, some Eastern European country, somewhere in Romania or. I love that nice blood jello moment. I actually used this as inspiration. This movie helped inspire me for when I wrote my books. I wanted my vampires to do more than just drink blood. I wanted them to have some form of cuisine that they created. So they had things like blood jello and
Yeah.
pudding. And,
This vampire is just ugly.
well, I love the fact that he's got the whole, like, he's got the big robe and the bare chest and all that, and you kind of think, well, okay, go one way or the other. If you're hot, just don't wear the damn robe. If you're gonna wear the robe, why have it open? With your bare chest
Your
sticking out.
yeah, your multiple abdomen layer, whatever the hell you got going on.
Yeah, with all the ribs and stuff. It's like, one or the other. Pick a way. Either dress or don't dress. Don't walk around looking like you threw on a bathrobe and kind of slumming it.
Why does he have to do it? Sissy, I love that. Sissy. I mean, humans can get infected too.
Yeah.
Just the humans are not a delicacy, it's the vampires. This is exactly like when they do the autopsy on the strain with the thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I said, this scene, they almost, probably...
He was just like, wait a minute, I've done this before. I'm going to write this vampire novel, but it's going to be about like a virus. It's going to be this like tentacle thing. Now, in 2008, I was working at a Barnes & Noble when the strain first hit the shelves, and I was like, what the hell is this? And it's like, oh, Del Toro wrote it. But then I'm like reading the description of what the vampires look like, and I'm like, from the press release they sent us, and I'm like, what? That sounds stupid.
Yeah, I was not actually a fan of the strain early on. Like it took a while to grow on me because I didn't like the sort of
The new kind of vampire they're doing.
yeah, I didn't like where it was all worms
And the strain was printed, by the way, in 2008, the first year Twilight came out. So vampires.
So it was the real anti-Twilight.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was ever an anti-Twilight, it's the strain. If you want to make probably the least romantic vampires, those Strigoi qualify. Oh, Norman Reedus is going to go over and watch the Powerpuff Girls. It's just so weird, the idea of like vampires getting infected by something else. That's such a sort of turn on the usual thing, because normally it would be the vampire that would be infecting someone else. Ooh, there we go. Now it's like the scene from Aliens.
Oh, don't bother him.
Oh, Blade.
I was like, I'll fight in the daylight. You sissies can stay here and, put on that motorcycle gear Deacon Frost had in the first movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because that works, apparently.
Yeah, I love the cheats and the get around. It's like some of that is so silly.
Like, they put that, like, topical cream on each other, too.
Oh, yeah, that was... It's like, yeah, sure, we're just going to slather ourselves in sunscreen and it'll be all good.
I didn't understand why was that, like, erotic or something, because he's doing it with his girlfriend, whatever the fuck her name is, Pris or something, and, like, their fangs are extending, and they're getting all, like, weepy-eyed to each other, and I'm like, what are you doing? What? You're putting cream on each other's faces. Is that really erotic for a vampire?
I don't think it had anything to do with as a vampire. I think they were just trying to you know, make it seem interesting or sensual or something, but yeah, it really didn't work.
It's just nutty.
It's Daryl Dixon out in the rain. Apparently, part of Blade's vampire curse is that he doesn't have to actually eat.
No, he's got that blue serum stuff.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you notice you never see him snacking on a cheeseburger or or anything like that either. He's just got the blue goo and he's all good.
In a vampire comic book called Crimson, which came out in the early 2000s, which has recently just been reprinted, finally, for anyone who missed it, about this kid named Alex. His Native American Hispanic vampire, like, buddy sidekick, name. Excuse me. Named Jose, and I say that because he's like his name's Jose, but he also wears like a bunch of Native American like tribal paint and stuff like that. So it's like, wait, what is he? Anyway,
Maybe Central American.
yeah. Again, name is Native Jose, but he wears a lot of like Native American tribal paint.
Yeah,
Not like insulting, but like. Right. Whatever. Anyway.
Well, what I mean is they had like Central American Indian tribes and South American Indian tribes too. So you could maybe that's what they were going for.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a point to this whole related to what you said about the eating. So he Alex is trying to eat food for the first time since he's become a vampire, and he's like, I can't taste anything. And he's like, you gotta channel that, bro. You gotta think deep and hard about the best vampire, the best hamburger you ever had in your life, man. I'm trying to do it like the stupid accent or whatever, the way it's like written and stuff. And then he takes another bite and he's like, oh my God, it tastes so good. He's like, here, try the fries. And he's just like chowing down the fries and like slurping the milkshake or whatever. He's like, that was amazing. He's like, that's what you got to do every time you eat food from now on, man. You got to channel that. You got to put it in your brain because then your taste buds or whatever, all they crave is blood, but you can taste the hamburger in your mouth. I was like, what? Now, that comic book goes so far off the rails at some point because it gets to the point of the apocalypse has come. But it's a really good book. It only lasted like 24 issues, and the guy's name was Humberto Ramos, and he's a great artist. He went on to work on for Marvel for several years, and he was the artist on Amazing Spider-Man for a number of years, off and on. And I think he's back to doing his own thing now. No, he's an artist on X-Men. He's an artist on one of the X-Men books. That's what he's doing. But people have always asked him, are you going to go back to Crimson some point? He's like, maybe. I know he owns the character because it was created through one of those independent companies where you get to maintain your copyright of your characters that you create.
Nice.
It wasn't a Marvel character, a DC character.
Oh. So the key to vampire eating is just
channeling,
mind over matter.
Basically.
Nice. You just have to believe it.
You have to believe in the best hamburger you've ever tasted. He calls him Boyo. He gets all pissed off at him. He's like, I'm not a vampire. Really? Then what are you, some type of saber-tooth tiger with them canines sticking out? Because the vampires in this book have like huge incisors when they get all angry and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
One of those kind of vampires.
Yeah. And he hangs out in a church with a guy named Ezekimio or something. He's supposed to be like he's this like gray-skinned, white hair and beard, like looking monk-looking guy. He's got these robes and everything, and eventually you find out that he's actually a Gregorian, one of the hierarchies of angels.
A Gregorian.
Gregorian, is that what they're called? Alan Rickman was it in Dogma, whatever that was. He's like, I am a Gregorian, the highest choir of angels. God, if it's not made into a movie, it's not worth knowing about.
Yeah.
In that very Alan Rickman sarcastic way, he would say things. Alan Rickman never played a vampire, did he? In anything?
I don't think so, and I really would have loved to see it.
Oh my god. It's like a lost opportunity now that he's dead.
It is.
Ah.
I seriously mourned him because he was one of my favorite actors.
He died this year, right?
Yep, 2016, right between like was it David Bowie?
David Bowie
and Prince.
Yeah, before Prince.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was like.
It was at that time period. They were just taking them all from us, and they were just like, "Dude, 2016 sucks. Everyone's dying. Everyone hates each other because a fandom sucks. Ghostbusters sucks, so that means everyone with an opinion sucked. Everyone's like at each other's throats because everyone's like either Republican or Democrat. And even then, you don't love your candidate. There's so much hate crime going on in the streets. What the hell, 2016?
Nah, it's a bad year.
Oh my god! It's like what good? The box office is at an all-time low in the history of the box office.
Yeah,
I mean, this summer has been nothing but just garbage.
Well, because they've released so many
remakes and sequels.
They're all trying to be giant, blockbusters, and yeah, the problem is not enough of them are performing. I mean, Suicide Squad has gotten like all this hate, even though I actually thought it was a pretty decent movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was certainly better than Batman versus Superman as far as introducing a DC universe.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, that's the one thing I respect about Suicide Squad is like, wow, they really went above and beyond blowing up the DC universe with that movie. But shared universe things is like every 5 minutes, that's what everyone wants to do because Marvel's been so successful at it, and they've been non-stop successful. There has not been like a lack in a Marvel movie. It's like, oh, Ant-Man, that was going to be the failure. Nope. Ant-Man was a huge success.
Oh, yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, that was going to be the movie. No, that was the highest grossing movie that year.
Oh, yeah, no, that one was amazing because it was like, those were characters that nobody really knew about. It wasn't from any kind of, it didn't have any sort of pedigree or anything.
Yeah.
It was just like, who are these guys? But then you watch it and it was like, no, this is like the best damn sci-fi movie in years.
Oh, these two are about to have a lover's spat.
Oh, yeah. He has turned in his...
Well, at least he can get that awful-looking wig off her head.
Maybe. Did you notice...
She would rather burn herself up.
Did you notice the vampires are pretty much wearing armor that looks kind of like the guys from Spaceballs?
A little bit.
Like, I noticed that when they were putting on the uniform. I'm like, did they get those kind of out of Mel Gibson or Mel Brooks's?
I gotta wonder, like, what are the rules of vampires in this universe? Because Reinhold here just stuck his gloved and clothed hands in the sun, but he started sizzling. What the hell?
Right. Exactly.
Deacon Frost and his girlfriend were out in the sun the last movie, completely in the sun, and then nothing happened to him.
No consistency.
Oh my god, I am really annoyed by that sometimes. It's like,
well,
so should their okay? Are you telling me their clothes have their yes, your clothes have your DNA on it. Obviously, I'm not stupid, right. But that doesn't mean your clothes should burn up. You should be like, okay, steak, stab, whatever, pile of clothes just falls.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem when people do vampires is they've become so generalized that a lot of times people forget that you have to decide, are your vampires mystical or are they scientifically based? Like, does sunlight hurt them because they're magic
Yeah.
and sunlight is just, bad?
Uh-huh.
Or, is it because of, physics or something, some kind of science principle? And that's the issue that I have with so many, is they try to have it both ways. They give their vampires these weird mystical properties, but then they try to make them seem scientific as well.
Yeah.
It's one of the issues I have with the strain. Despite the strain having a lot of good qualities, they kind of keep trying to have their cake and eat it too. They can't quite decide whether the Strigoi are a scientific phenomenon or whether they're mystical.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were scientific up until they introduced the elder vampires in season 2.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute. Or like the master and his history. You know what I mean? They go right into the master's history in season 2. And you're like,
Yep.
okay, I get that a worm thing could live forever, but what?
Yeah, they start getting a little silly.
So, okay, so vampires are worms. All right.
Yeah. Well, it's like, are the vampires the worms, or do the worms just carry the vampires?
Yeah, is that like their metachlorians with the force and crap like that?
Right, exactly. They never quite, like if you kill the master, but one of the little freaking worms slithers away and gets into another body, does he just come back? Or,
Yeah.
it's like, that's where I tell I just tell people, be careful. Like, once you start getting, if you're gonna make your vampires mystical, then just make them mystical. Don't try to put pseudoscience in there too, because you're just gonna trip yourself up, with the internal logic.
They make
Yeah,
this little
Ron Perlman
triangle.
definitely looks like Ron Perlman definitely looks like he should be running around Spaceball 1 with that, with that armor.
Now, did this? Yeah, this did come out before Underworld.
Oh yeah,
Because the third one came out, I think, the year after the first Underworld. Because I think Underworld came out in 2003.
yeah. Underworld kind of. That was interesting.
And there's the fifth one comes out next year.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as well as okay, Underworld and Resident Evil have got to end, and they both end next year.
yeah,
Resident Evil, the final chapter comes out in January.
yeah. So
They're putting that as a January release, which is like, wow, January is the dumping ground for the crap horror. And they want Resident Evil just out there finally, and they're putting it out in January.
well, that series should have ended like 4 movies ago.
Oh my god, I cannot believe they're still making those stupid things. And we're still seeing them. It's like they have nothing to do with the video games.
Yeah, they're just cranking them out.
Now,
straight,
Blade, by the way, had 2 video games. There's a game based on the first movie and a game based on Blade 2 for the original Xbox.
Oh.
I would call it Xbox One, but they fucking called Xbox 3 Xbox One. It makes like no sense.
Naming conventions.
Whatever. Yeah, but yeah, there's a Blade video game for the PlayStation, and it's awful. It's like got tank-like mechanics. It just terrible graphics. It's so dark. It's so dark. Even in like apparently turning your light all the way up. And Blade is just like bang, 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 bang. But I never played the second one based on the second movie. I never saw a trailer. I only ever saw the cover, and I always kept looking at it going, It's like I could buy it, like hunt it down on eBay and buy it because I do have Xbox 360 and that does play Xbox One game, original Xbox games, original Xbox games. So I'd be really curious to see how that Blade game was because again, every like preview or game review I saw of the first one just made me like revolt. Like
they're down in the sewers with hardly any light, but yet Blade and Reinhardt are still have to wear their sunglasses for coolness.
I know. You cannot tell me unless obviously Blade can see in the dark, but I mean, what?
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, it's like this isn't impairing their vision at all. They wouldn't be a little better without the sunglasses on. So that they could just see naturally.
No, they gotta look cool.
Yeah.
They gotta sell tickets. Wesley Snipes doesn't have cool eyes with those contacts in.
Yeah. It's one of those action movie rules. Just like how you can they can react to what is literally light.
Oh, so
Traveling
Blade
at the speed of light, they were able to see it coming and dive underwater in time to avoid it.
So Blade 2 came out for PlayStation 2 and Xbox. So it came on both those consoles. But the original Blade game only came out on PlayStation 1, the PSX. Came out oh my god, they came out like 6 months after the movie. So I think it came out around the time the DVD came out.
Yeah. Well, that was when they would pretty much make a video game out of almost any movie that did anything. I mean, I remember the glory days of like the James Bond GoldenEye.
That was like one game.
Yeah. Well, that one game that lived forever, and everybody pretty much agreed the game was better than the movie. You know, they took a movie that had a relatively terrible plot and turned it into a game that actually kind of worked.
Oh, so here's the thing about Blade 2. I'm just reading this right now. The Blade 2 game is actually a sequel to Blade 2.
Oh,
it's not the plot line of the movie. It takes place before Trinity, and it's about Blade and Whistler trying to hunt down the rest of the Reapers.
That's pretty good. I mean, it makes more sense than just rehashing the plot of the movie.
Yeah, especially since the game came out 6 months after the movie did, and came out. It ran on the Quake 2 engine? And this has got to be a good game because the Quake 2 engine's like fantastic for video games. But it got like terrible reviews. I kind of want to play this now.
Don't chase me, bro.
Basically, it's a hate crime going on right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this movie.
If they all started kicking him, it would be Los Angeles.
This game got like not great. It's got a consistent rating of like 4.8 out of 10.
Well, they kicked them. They're now Los Angeles police officers.
The company that made the Blade game, they didn't do so well afterwards. They had 2 commercial failures under their belt, and this game really killed them.
Not a surprise.
They tried to make Bulletproof Monk into a video game, and their next project was going to be The Punisher, but The Punisher got pulled from them and sent off to someone else. And The Punisher video game for PlayStation 2 is a really good game. It was like a rare sleeper hit, M-rated comic book game that kind of came in and out under the radar, and people who did play it absolutely love it. It's insanely violent because you're the Punisher.
Of course.
You know, it's a running forward, shoot 'em kind of game. With a little bit of first person action, but honestly, amazing controls, great weapons, no real complaints. I mean, the enemies are like an army sent against you, but you have so many weapons because you're the Punisher. It's easy to get through them all. And also, the story was written by Garth Ennis, who wrote some of the best Punisher comics of the last of the entire character's history, actually. Every villain's got some secret laboratory that they need Blade's special blood for. This is where it became like, oh really? You need the...
Yeah, again.
And what are these again? These are his kids?
The James Bond lair.
These are all his little
Who needs a James Bond villain lair?
Yeah, and then these little things in the Petri dishes are all his little test tube babies.
Oh, yeah.
Daughter, you were once one of these. Because he wants Blade's blood stuck in them, because then they'll become like him. You lying son of a bitch.
Yep. Everybody wants the Daywalker.
So Kristofferson, I had no idea who he was until the first Blade movie, and people were like shocked by that. They're like, "What? You never heard Kristofferson?" I'm like, who the fuck is he? Is he somebody big, or he's only one of the greatest singers of all time? What was that movie that Jeff Bridges won the Academy Award for, playing the country singer?
Oh, Untamed Heart?
Yeah, didn't he look like Kristofferson in that movie?
Pretty much, yeah. I think they modeled him very much after that.
But he's a singer songwriter, musician. I was like, I didn't know.
Yeah, he's one of those ones. I mean, I never knew his music all that much.
Yeah,
but yeah, I had seen him in a few like movies and things, because by the 80s he was doing a bunch of little, parts in TV movies and things like that.
Did you know he went to West Point?
I did not.
And he was in the United States Army for 4 years, and then when his tour was up, he left. He didn't want to go fight in a war he didn't believe in, which was the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And
I could see that.
Yeah, because his tour got done just as Vietnam was getting going, and he was like, no. And who could blame him? Hey, if your tour is up, you didn't have to stay in. You weren't drafted in. You could be done.
Here's where Norman Reedus gets to have his big
reveal, which is kind of lame, and I really wish they hadn't done it. I kind of wish he had been like their extra sidekick,
He was fun. It would have been cool to see him actually take over as like Whistler's thing, but I guess he did as good of a job with playing the scene and making it fun as you can with such a really kind of lame scene as the like, ha ha, I was actually working for the bad guys the whole time.
Kristofferson also won a Razzie Award. Got nominated for a Razzie Award 2 years in a row. Not for this movie. I was like, really? Is he dead?
Boom.
No, Kristofferson is still alive.
Yeah.
He's 80. He's waiting for Blade 4.
They're gonna resurrect him again.
Yeah. Wesley, you're so old.
They'll scrape up like some dried blood or something and clone him.
Oh my god, it'd be so cool to have him on the show. He's got a whole website and everything. You can contact him. Maybe I'll send him a message like, dude, you the Bob in Blade. Not so much in Blade 3, but
send in some questions for him. Ask him about his thoughts on Blade, because I noticed he's one of the few people that doesn't show up in any of the commentaries.
Oh my god, that's gotta look really painful. So one thing I'm wondering is, did the him getting bitten and bathing in the blood bath thing that earlier in the movie, did that cure him of his cancer? Because he had cancer in the first movie.
It must have. When they kept him alive and almost made him a vampire, but not quite. They must have somehow cured his cancer.
Wait, Kristofferson's on tour right now. I'm not joking. On his website, you go to his website, go to chriskristofferson.com for anyone listening to this commentary, and he's on tour. He's in Norway right now.
Oh, wow.
And these are definitely up-to-date tickets because the first two are sold out and the rest are still saying ticket. God, I wonder if he's going to come to Boston. Go see him. A VIP package tour or whatever, just to meet him. Like, can you sign my Blade? People are like, how did you meet Kristofferson? I went to his concert.
Wow.
He's not coming anywhere near me. It's California, Washington, Finland, Sweden, Denmark. Wow. That's it. And his tour goes up to November 17th. So maybe there's more dates to be announced. He only has one date in October at the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. That's kudos to him. He's 80 years old and still touring.
That is pretty impressive. Most rockers or singers of any kind have kind of hung it up by then.
Yeah. Oh, unless you're the Rolling Stones or Kiss.
Well, yeah.
I don't think they're in their 80s, but I mean, Mick Jagger's got to be in his 70s, right?
Oh yeah, he's
old.
Well into 70s.
He's old.
Here we go. Vampire family drama.
Ozzy's almost 70.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes is 50-something years old. He retweeted when I said I was doing a commentary for the first Blade movie. He retweeted me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I thought he left me a message, but it wasn't. He just liked and retweeted that I was going to do a commentary for Blade. And of course, I started hammering him with tweets, going, "Can you come on? Can you do the show? Can you do an interview? Huge fan of Blade." I'm like, seriously, what the fuck are you doing these days that you can't do an interview for a fan? I mean, you are in nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is somebody who loves your career and he's asking you to come on the show. Answer the freaking thing. You're not doing anything.
You never know.
I mean, honestly, the last thing I heard he was in, besides The Expendables 3, was he did Art of War 3.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, there was like a delay in his films getting released until he was out of prison because he only served like a portion of the sentence because, good behavior and shit.
Well,
it's tax evasion. You're not going to go to jail forever unless it's an extremely terrible amount of money. Yeah. And even then, if you're good in jail, you'll get out on good behavior.
Yeah.
We're talking about a blue-collar crime. We're not talking about a hate crime or a violent crime or a crime that affected a lot I You didn't pay back your taxes.
Realistically, it was probably some screw-up of his accountant or whatever. I mean, when you make so much money from so many different places and different countries.
He was on a TV series last year. He was only on 9 episodes of it. It's called The Player.
Yeah, I saw some of that. Yeah, he was. I was going to say that was the latest thing that he was doing. They tried. The show ended.
Oh.
They tried to do this really cool blacklist sort of show in Vegas where they, people bet on some guy's life or whatever kind of thing, and Wesley Snipes was playing the head guy that was running it.
Oh, he's got a movie coming out with Anne Heche.
There's a power casting.
Well, she was just in a TV series which got renewed for a second season. She's in every episode.
Yeah.
The Dig. She's on that show.
No, I've never heard of it.
American construction company in the Holy Land is digging up they're digging up something religious.
Okay.
And the Muslims aren't too happy. That's kind of what the gist I got of it. Oh, here it is. Dig. I think it got renewed for a second season, unless it got canceled. It looks like it got canceled after one season. Jason Isaacs, Anne Heche, Angela Bettis, an FBI agent stationed in Jerusalem while investigating a murder of a young female archaeologist uncovers a conspiracy 2,000 years old. It was on the USA Network. I don't know. It looked okay in the first episode I watched, but again, I don't think it got renewed for a second season. And Anne Heche is in every episode. It's from the creators of Homeland and Heroes. So trying to obviously recreate that Homeland success, because Homeland is a huge hit.
Yeah. We should probably get back to the movie.
No, yeah, we get off.
Going,
We started
hell,
segueing
man?
into Wesley Snipes' co-stars.
They're doing Blade 2, and they're talking about Anne Heche's career. What the hell?
What has she done lately? Well, actually, I just went over it.
What does she have to do with Blade 2?
Well, 6 Degrees of Separation with Kevin Bacon, I can tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she kind of resembles some of the vampires.
Oh my God! Ow! Ow! Oh, that's why Ellen broke up with her. Oh! This is all jokes, people. I don't want any comments in the section below. They're all anti-gay and we hate Anne Heche and Ellen and shit like that. God, you say one fucking thing in these commentaries sometimes. I've had to block people from being like, I don't like what you said. Wow. Shut up. Yeah, really. Unless I'm blatantly being a racist or a sexist.
The Blade Nestea plunge.
Okay, blood would not drain off of him like that. Unless
blood wouldn't behave in any way like the water that they have there.
No, I've seen a pool of blood. It doesn't quite do that. It's rather syrupy.
you'd have to have so many anticoagulants and whatnot in there to keep it even liquid. But yeah, it'd be like him falling into a vat of thick syrup.
Or what was that movie, Queen of the Damned, when Aaliyah comes up from her oral services of Lestat, and she's just it's just water running off of her. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I get that it's supposed to be very erotic because she was just under the water doing something. We obviously know what she was doing, but for God's sakes.
The classic action movie trope where all of the villains just very kindly form a line.
Oh yeah, they don't just gang up on him at the same time.
And attack him one by one so that he can just take them all down.
I'm going to point out, in the first movie, they all attacked him at the same time. They were actually able to take him down and strap him to that machine, which drained him all of his blood. Remember that whole thing?
If they all just charged in with their sticks,
Or he could, maybe, I don't know, break open the vat so the water pours everywhere, then throw the sparkly stick down and electrocutes them all at the same time.
Nah.
Reinhardt's just, giving orders.
Too logical.
I don't want to fight him.
No, because of course the whole plan is, well, I'll just let him get tired, killing every single one of my soldiers, and then I'll fight him.
Also, the dumb plot line of every movie, Blade needs gets drained. In the first one, it's to bring about the Blood God. In this one, it's for all of Demachus's little spawn seeds or whatever. And the third one, he hasn't had his serum in a long time. He's at the police station. He's getting thirsty. It's what the hell, guys? We don't... It's like the X-Men movies. The X-Men do other things besides fight racism every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Or speciesism, or whatever. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
But
there are certain...
Little crappy CGI.
Classic trope.
They want their cake and to eat it too.
Yep. Oh. And there we go. Sliced Ron Perlman right in half.
And just kills that whole thing. Ew, it's all gooey and everything. It's I wonder if they're all just filled with eggs, regular eggs, chicken eggs, and then just busting it open. Because that's what it looked like spraying apart.
That would be hilarious.
So now he's gonna fight not Demachus because he's kind of lame. Marblehead. He's gonna fight the Super Reaper.
Well, yeah, because Super Reaper's got to take out his dad in classic sort of Shakespearean style.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know who this is really, and I didn't really pay attention to IMDb, what her name is, but I remember she was on the cover of Maxim magazine the month this movie came out.
Yeah.
Back when Maxim magazine was the thing everyone fucking read.
Yeah, she was the hot.
Yeah.
Thing for.
What, you mean there's like a non-nude Playboy? And it's actually got articles I want to read about? Yes, I'll read that. And then the internet became a bigger thing. And
yeah.
And there's not even Playboy anymore. Oh, it's a father-son reunion. Again, I think it would just... Oh, God, I really wish they could have gotten the whole thing with, like, Morbius done and him being, like, a blood doctor. Because, again, they did announce that the villain was going to be Michael Morbius. But Morbius is a Spider-Man villain, unfortunately. So he's tied up in the Spider-Man franchise, which they never used. But that would have been so cool. Just one villain, maybe. But no, then they could have had all those other cool characters. Unless Morbius tries to, like, experiment on people, and he just keeps turning people into vampires with his, like, experiments with his blood disease. Or he turns into, like, a giant bat-like monster, like he did in the Spider-Man episode. And there's so many things they could have done. I don't know what they were originally planning. If there's a script out there, I would love to read what the script would have been. I gotta assume they would have kept to the original motif that he's a living vampire. So that means he can be, Morbius can't be out in the daylight. But, there's other things about him that Blade would have done to him wouldn't affect him, like silver and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and like I said, anything... I know originally... Oh, so here we go.
He's just bleeding green goo.
Red, it's like green.
Isn't our blood like blue until it's exposed to the
Not entirely. It's a much darker red, like like almost a purple.
Our blood?
Our blood, yeah. Yeah. The oxygen in the air, brightens it up and makes it the red that we know, but it's still the same color. There's absolutely no reason for his blood to be like freaking blue green. I mean, he's not a Vulcan.
Hold on, let me check something. Yep, this movie is rated R, so you can have as much bloodshed as you really want. It's just that when you start getting other things in there, you cross over into an NC-17. And she just stood there. I mean, God, woman.
Yep, that was her whole deal. She was going to let him kill Dad, and then.
Well, she's still working, by the way.
And her.
What's funny is that she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. I watched that show.
And the new season's going to have Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Which, again, there's something else. They could have Blade. They could, like... What about maybe, like, in Season 5, they find out there's vampires and they need to go find Blade. That's the season they introduce Blade.
Yep.
But... Really? Do you think they would actually have a vampires on, like, ABC? I mean, they'd have to, like, water it down with the way they're killed and stuff. It'd be so lame. Blade needs, like, a Netflix show.
He really does.
Or he needs to appear on someone else's show, like Luke Cage's. Which, I'm not saying he should appear on Luke Cage because, well, that's the black show. But Luke Cage is going to cover a lot of, like, kind of plot lines that you would see Blade in from his earlier appearances.
Well, and like you said, there is apparently a
connection with Luke's dad.
Crossover with Blade and Luke Cage's father.
Yeah, so... And let's face it, Blade was created in the 70s because of the blaxploitation hits of the movies, like Shaft and stuff.
Yep.
And Foxy Cleopatra, or whatever, Foxy Cleopatra was the sidekick from Austin Powers, so... Whatever character she's parroting.
Brown and...
Foxy Brown, that's it.
Jones. Yeah, they combined two of Pam Grier's characters.
Okay, this is so CGI'd and stupid looking. I mean, this isn't as bad as Parker Posey's vampire in Blade Trinity.
Oh, God, I hated that character. Well, almost as much... as I hated, let's bring in Dracula again. Yeah, this part of the CGI just looks like unforgivably... It almost looks like it came right out of a video game.
Yeah.
like video cut scenes.
And why is he still wearing that coat? Take the coat off. You got looks like some badass clothing on underneath, but you look like a bum.
That's his look. Like for the whole thing, it's like homeless guy chic. Yeah, you figure he could have. I mean, he's got like 50 layers on.
Yeah.
Like a genuine homeless guy.
Oh my god, that looks so fake. This was the big problem people had with Blade 2, and I don't know if this is Del Toro's decision or studio decision, but all this CGI flipping around just looked like garbage.
Yeah, I think again that was part of it was the budget, was they wanted to have the action, and CGI at that point was a little cheaper than doing all of that stuff.
Oh, but in 2 months we have a Spider-Man movie coming out by Sony, who was still kind of a fledgling studio at that point. I mean, they had never made a movie by themselves. Huh?
Watch the original Spider-Man again, and look how fake and terrible the digital looks in that. It's just as bad. Spider-Man jumping around looks like a cartoon stuck into a real movie.
I don't know. I thought that looked really good on the wires and him flipping around, and then when it's from Spider-Man's point of view, that's Sam Raimi's famous camera tricks and stuff like that. When he's zooming the camera down through the streets of New York and it's Spider-Man's perspective, that is like on a wire running through the city and stop traffic.
Right, that wasn't that bad. But no, we were just my brother and his wife were watching it just the other night. They were watching the first one, and I was looking, and Willem Dafoe and his little power.
Oh, that looks stupid as hell.
But yeah, the CGI on him and Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man looks obvious CG.
Yeah, and then of course he got this glowing because he's got the bomb inside him. Blue flame burns brightest. Chlorine he cleans up in a jiffy. It also in the beginning of this movie, this guy didn't really seem like he wanted to be the way he is. It was out of necessity.
Yeah.
He could have just gone to Blade and be like, I'll help you kill me. I'll help you stop all this, and then you can kill me, and it will stop permanently.
Yeah.
Because I made some bad decisions. I turned some people into some monsters, but, I want to fix that.
Yeah, I guess that would have been... That would have simplified things too much. But yeah, it would have in fact made sense if that was his end game.
Yeah.
He could have just walked up to Blade and been like, and presented him with that and been like, hey, let's have a temporary alliance.
I don't understand why, like in the third Blade movie, the vampires are all Reapers all of a sudden. Like Dracula's a Reaper, and the Pomeranians have the mandibles. It's like, what? Wait, what? Why? What?
Yeah, so much about the third movie just didn't make any sense. They originally wanted, I know, to do something better with more of like a Last Man on Earth.
Oh yeah. Now, also, why didn't he just like stab her? She wanted to see the sunlight.
Yeah.
Like, sentimental garbage.
It's probably the coolest like relationship story they've had with Blade, because the chick in the first movie he had zero chemistry with. At least in this one, this feels kind of earned. Like like she earned his respect, and for a guy who's pretty much as flat out racist against vampires as Blade is, this is a big step for him.
This isn't hurting her. She's not in pain.
Oh, she is, but she's a
keeping it in.
Trooper. She's sucking it up.
Now they're doing that shot with like the sun rising really fast and the shadow setting, because by the way, the sun does not rise that fast.
Nope.
Like they do in the first Blade movie, where the sun rises and sets or whatever, and darkness falls over the city. I thought the imagery in Blade, the first Blade, was a little better sometimes But I mean, they're kind of like two separate movies. You can't even compare them.
Well, no, the director. I mean, the first movie was directed by a guy who is pretty much just like music videos and is all about, was all about imagery.
Yeah.
So it was all action, all flash. And Blade 2, what I liked about it is it had a lot more substance. Characters got a lot more attention.
Didn't think I'd forget about you, did you?
Yeah. I just it makes me kind of cynical though to think
Marv
like,
Wolfman and Gene Cullen, I've had them both on my show.
Huh?
The creators of Blade, you just missed it. It said Blade was and characters are created by Marvel Comics for Marv Wolfman and Gene Cullen.
Yeah.
I've had both of those guys on my show. Marv Wolfman's still alive. Gene Cullen has departed us. Met Marv Wolfman at the Boston Comic Con last month.
Oh, nice.
Blade also had a better soundtrack than Blade 2. There's not one song from Blade 2 I can even point out to you.
True.
I'm sure Blade... it's like that for the time, it's early 2000s hip-hop music that I just don't listen to hip-hop. But that one song from the first Blade movie, Confucius, that's played during the club scene, that's like legendary.
Oh, yeah.
And then Blade, like the first one, which came out in 98, not 99, it came out in 98. That came out the year before The Matrix.
Huh.
I was going to say, wait a minute, Blade did not come out the same year as The Matrix, The Mummy, and Episode 1. No, it came out the year before.
Yeah.
It came out like right after Batman versus Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it did.
Which killed the Batman franchise for like 5 or 6 years. But Blade was like right there to be like, oh, we got this movie. It's based on this comic book character.
Yeah, they kind of picked up the 90s, Batman thing and
did it better.
I think that's also part of what made them greenlight. Thomas Kretschmann.
Who's he?
He's the one from King Kong and
Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Yeah, Peter Jackson's King Kong. He played the captain.
Oh, okay.
And he was also Baron von Strucker?
Yeah.
In the Marvel movies.
Oh.
So this is actually two. Oh, okay, that's why he wasn't recognizable, because he was playing Damaskinos.
And martial arts coordinator was Donnie Yen.
Yep, who also appeared.
And Wesley Snipes knows how to do a lot of this stuff too.
Yeah, I also think Donnie Yen did. Is he the one that did Batman Begins?
I don't know.
He showed up in that too.
Okay. Then probably it seems like a lot of the movies he's worked on, he gets to be in, and he's the stunt coordinator.
Yeah,
which is probably helpful.
Shadows guys, I think.
Yeah, which is probably helpful if you actually have one of the guys that's acting doing who knows what they're doing, so he can teach everyone the proper techniques so that no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
Man, the European names in this list. This was filmed in Czechoslovakia.
Oh, well, yep.
Because it's Czech. Or, sorry, not Czechoslovakia. In Czech. Czech and Slovak are two different countries.
Yeah, now.
Yeah. It's been that way for a while, but we all still mistakenly say Czechoslovakia.
Well, yeah, it's like Yugoslavia. It's like, doesn't really exist anymore.
They're two separate countries, right?
Yeah.
Yugo and Slavia? Well,
no, they actually broke into... Oh, what was it? They broke into a couple of countries.
Oh, okay. I don't know when Blade's ever going to return to comics. Again, that comic book that was supposed to happen with his daughter never happened. Tim Seeley mentioned some stuff to me at Comic-Con, which he said it out loud, but I don't want to really repeat it. So if anyone listening to this ever wants to have a chance to ask him directly to his face, don't tweet him. He won't answer on Twitter, but he seems to be open about talking about it like at a convention. He can probably tell you a little bit about what happened with Marvel and why he's probably not going to work for Marvel ever. And that's why he's going to sign a contract with DC to do Nightwing. And then Nightwing, not only Nightwing, which is, by the way, Jordan would not know. Oh, Mike Mignola was the visual coordinator. That's cool. He was the creator of Hellboy.
Yes.
Anyone not familiar with who Nightwing is, so you may not. I don't mean to make fun of you, but it's kind of funny when I hear people say, "Who's Nightwing?" I'm like, that's Dick Grayson, a.k.a. former Robin. And he hasn't been Robin since, in the comics, by the way, he hasn't been Robin since 1982. It's in the movies, the cartoons, off and on, he's still Robin. But a lot of the times, they try to not let him be Robin for very long. It's usually back to, like, Tim Drake or Jason Todd or something, you know?
Yeah.
But right now, as of currently, in fact, he wasn't Nightwing for a little while. He was just Grayson. He was a secret agent. But anyway, I digress. I don't know where Blade is in comics currently. The last time we saw him was in the Mighty Avengers. He was posing as a character called Ronin, who has been like two other characters. He was Ronin has been the character called Echo, who is a a Daredevil femme fatale villain / hero character, and he was Clint Barton for a little while, Hawkeye, when Hawkeye came back from the dead. He needed a new identity because there was another Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, the female teenager. So he decided to take up the identity of Ronin. And then the last person who was Ronin was Blade, Eric. There's a Marvel series coming out in January called Monsters Unleashed. No word yet. Marvel has just revealed the logo because they've been teasing something called MU, and everyone's like, well, that stands for Marvel Universe, right? No, it stands for Monsters Unleashed, and it's supposed to be there. I'd heard the rumor that they were going to start pumping out some supernatural books out there, and we were going to finally see the return of like Werewolf by Night and Blade and Dracula, because the only supernatural book Marvel has right now is Doctor Strange. And then starting up in November, just in time for the new movie, is going to be Sorcerers Supreme, which is about the cadre club of Sorcerers Supremes from different dimensions. So, as of right now, that's it. And Blade hasn't shown up in Doctor Strange, so he's been missing in action since before the Secret Wars, which kind of rebooted the universe slightly. All these bands in these credits, I have no idea who they are. I'm sorry. Hip hop music is just not my thing, and 90% of the Blade soundtracks is hip hop or techno.
Oh, that was the time, late 90s.
What about Kris Kristofferson? Didn't he write a song for Blade? I mean, Will Smith writes songs for all his movies. They should have had Kris Kristofferson be like, Blade, he stabs vampires, like in a country way.
Blade the country.
Look at this. No real Reapers were hurt during the making of this film.
The Ballad of Blade.
Did you see that at the end of the credits? Brian, did you see that at the end of the credits?
Yeah.
Yeah. No real Reapers. But yeah, the Ballad of Blade. It's like, what the hell? You have a country singer in your movie. You have a famous writer who wrote for Willie Nelson. Where's the song? He's in 3 movies. He doesn't have one song.
Nope.
What the hell? I just suddenly realized this. I have seen these movies so many fucking times. And Kris Kristofferson doesn't have a single song in them.
Now he has to. I really should. He should release like a Blade song and do like a video.
Oh my god, like he's all old with Wesley Snipes. They're like with their walkers. All right, that's enough making fun of Wesley Snipes with Kris Kristofferson. Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming on the show and doing this Blade 2 commentary.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was very entertaining.
You have some books that you can plug that people can go to your website or something to find out more information?
My website, sadly, is right under construction, although I have my blog, which is brianpatrickmckinley.wordpress.com.
Okay.
So that's good enough. That'll give you links. I'm getting a better website that I'm currently working on, so I don't have the address for it yet.
All right, man. Sounds good.
Drawing Dead is a vampire gangster, and Ancient Blood is a vampire fanboy, much like us, who gets turned into the real thing and finds out that it sucks.
Cool. Well, again, Brian, thank you so much for coming on the show with us to talk about Blade 2.
Blade 2, The Revenge.
Blade 2, Electric Boogaloo. Red light district of Boogaloo.